Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
Yeah,
RBG, dies at 87.
Notorious RBG. Have you ever seen that meme?
This say no. What is it?
The Notorious RBG?
Let me look it up. People on 4chan were saying R RGB, like the
I
color
think,
code.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. The Life and Times of Ruth Bader. You know, respect. That's actually good. That's actually a good title book. That's a good.
What was the book?
Isn't that a book? Isn't that where the meme? New York Times
Oh, I don't
bestseller,
know.
Notorious
No,
RBG.
the meme comes from Notorious B.I.G. It's Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, but she actually yes,
She actually
but
made a book called The Notorious RBG. That's
yeah, it's actually
hilarious.
called the
That is really
Notorious
funny.
RBG: The Life and Times of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yeah, I respect for that, you know. And to be
She's a fucking
fair,
meme queen.
I'm sure she was a badass, but look, she died. She was a badass. She held on to till the very end to
Yeah.
try and keep that seat.
Open
And
for a Dem. And
respect.
I respect the fuck out of that, honestly. Like, I
Yeah,
really do respect that. But you've failed.
yeah,
And and they're going to fucking put a Republican in. Like, that's what's going to happen, right? Like,
yeah,
I think it's so fucking funny that, like, everyone on the left right now is like, they should wait until the fucking election. It's like, you either genuinely think that people should wait till the election, or you think that they should put someone in immediately.
hmm,
I personally believe that the president should put someone in immediately whenever something like this happens. I
yeah.
think that Obama should have been able to put Merrick Garland in, and I think that Trump should be able to put in whoever the fuck he wants, because that is the job. Now,
Because also,
Obama was
where's the limit too? Like, do you say it? Like, you can't put a
Is it?
limit
Yeah,
on it.
exactly. Is it a
There's
month
no
before? Is it 3 months before? Is it a year
year
before?
before
Where is
two.
the line of like how when you no the line is when you stop being president.
Yeah,
That's the line, right? That's the line that we've agreed upon. So the the I understand that Obama was like stonewalled by Mitch McConnell when he was trying to get Merrick Garland in, and I get why Dems and even I am annoyed by the fact that that happened. I've been annoyed by that ever since it happened.
yeah,
But the reason I'm annoyed is because of the fact that Obama should have been able to put someone in immediately, and then of course I think that Trump should be able to do the same thing. And just because it wasn't fair for Obama doesn't mean that we should then continue to act like that.
yeah,
Like scooping, like if people keep like saying that Republicans are like these dirty fucking players and all this type of shit, and like they play the game real fucking gross, like is your solution to just do the same thing and just be gross as well?
yeah.
Like, I'm not
Exactly.
saying the Republicans are necessarily bad, but like if you're saying that they're bad and then your solution is to do the same thing that they've historically done that really upset you a lot, aren't you basically just saying that you're a bad person too?
Yeah. You're saying if you play dirty, I'll play dirty too, which isn't right.
Yeah.
If you're the better party, you don't need to do that. You don't
Yeah,
need
if
to
you're the
play
better
dirty.
person, you don't do that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. If you treat me terribly, like I shouldn't just treat you terribly back just because I shouldn't just be a fucking asshole, right?
Yeah.
Like I can have some respect for myself and go, that's not how I communicate. Like, and I don't want that to be the way that I do things. I don't want that to be the way that I'm looked at by other people.
Yeah.
I'm willing to, even though the fact that these other people played the game sort of dirty, I'm willing to have some fucking humility and understand the fact that they have an opportunity right now to put another fucking Supreme Court justice in, and they would be fucking retarded not to take it.
Yeah.
And they've never hidden the fact. Like, there's a video out there of Mitch McConnell saying, he was asked an interview question basically saying, if this happened, if Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, or if one of the other Supreme Court justices died right before the election, what would happen? And he said, we'd fill it. Like, that was it, immediately. We'd fill it. Of course we'd fill it. Like,
Yeah. It's
and
it's
look,
like
if you're a fucking Democrat, you have no fucking power. You don't have the fucking Senate, so it doesn't even matter. Like, even it doesn't. We can sit here and fucking like try and like shame Trump into fucking like waiting till November, but that's never gonna happen. You're not gonna shame that man into fucking waiting till November. So just get over it. Like, you've got another Republican Supreme Court justice coming your way. Enjoy.
Yeah. It was said too that the Republicans kind of played it smart because they knew that. I think they pushed so hard for this election too because I guess they knew Scalia was in bad health. They knew Ginsburg was in bad health. Who was the third guy? Kavanaugh got in because of who? Because someone else.
I can't remember.
Anyways, they knew. So three normally you never get to vote in three justices, but the Republicans knew going in that there's two that were at least ill health, and there was a big chance they'd be getting them in their term. So that's why the Dems are so mad. And because if the Dems would have, the issue is if the Dems would have won, then we'd have a full Democratic panel of judges.
They'd be defunding the police everywhere right now.
Exactly. Lucky the Republicans got in. That's it. And the other thing is that this goes back to the Democrats' whole sort of ideology, which is we're gonna be nice, and that means everyone else is gonna be nice. Everyone's gonna play by the exact same rules by us, which is not true. Trump may be look. The Republicans were dicks for blocking it when Obama was able to put in Republicans were dicks for blocking Obama for putting in that justice. Yeah. And, they're kind of dicks for what they're doing right now, but they won. And the issue is that, okay, once you see this happen, you don't go, we're going to play dirty. You go, we're going to patch this loophole. We're going to fix this for the future so that no one else can ever do this. And that's it, right? But the Dems...
Well, have you seen what the Dems are recommending? Have you seen what they're saying they're going to do if they win?
Aren't they going to try and stop the House, or they're going to try and...
No, they're going to try and expand the Supreme Court. So basically what they're saying is if Trump puts a fucking Supreme Court nominee in, right, and then the Dems win, they're just going to invalidate it by expanding the Supreme Court.
Oh, that's dumb.
Like, which is just, like, once again, that all that does is tell me not to vote for you.
Yeah.
Like,
what they should
do
is make it
play like shit.
5 year, make it term-based for the Supreme Court justice,
I think the point of the lifetime nomination is so that they don't do things for political reasons and they just vote based on their conscience, which I think is a good thing. I think that lifetime appointments is a good thing. And I think that if you're for some reason my camera's gone super out of focus, but if you're unhappy about that, and if you want Democrats to be able to pick more Supreme Court justices, vote for Joe Biden. But at the end of the day, I think that if the Republicans saw this as a real reason why they needed to win in 2016, the Dems should have too. And it seems like they thought that from what I've read about this whole thing, like there have been Democrats that have come out and basically said like, oh, we should have handled the 2016 thing differently and actually worked harder to get Merrick Garland in. But we were so confident that we were going to win the 2016 election that we were so confident we were going to win the 2016 election that we didn't feel like we needed to push the whole Merrick Garland thing. And if we had pushed the Merrick Garland thing, that it could have potentially lost us the election, is what they were saying, basically. So you should have made damn sure you fucking won. Yeah. And maybe not put a fucking corporatist, neoliberal, soul-sucking fucking vampire who went and fucking tried to run in no states and didn't try and attract any fucking voters and fucking crucified the progressive fucking candidate and ripped him away and like fucking in a sham took him out of the fucking whole democratic process.
Yeah.
Like you disenfranchised all these voters, basically told any Republican or any Trump supporter that they're a fucking terrible human being if they don't fucking agree with your shit. Like, if you wanted to win the 2016 election, why did you go with that strategy? And if you want to fucking win again, why are you using the same strategy? Why? Exactly. Like, why have you got Hillary Clinton's fucking retarded brother up on fucking stage at the moment? Like, I don't understand.
That's the best way to describe it.
Fucking candidate, man. Like, you took the same candidate, but fucking gave him dementia beforehand, and we're like, oh, the soul-sucking corporatist neoliberal candidate didn't win last time, so this time we're going to do it and make sure that he doesn't even know how to get through a speech without sounding like he's got fucking ants in his brain.
Yeah.
Like... do you even care about winning a fucking Supreme Court nomination? Like, what the fuck, man?
I don't know. I don't
Good,
know
good
what it
luck
is.
expanding the Supreme Court when you fucking lose every state in America fucking this year.
You know what's interesting? I have that quote, but by Hillary Clinton, by the way, about back when
Hmm.
Justice Scalia died, and she said the Republicans in Senate and on the campaign trail are calling for Justice Scalia's seat to remain vacant, dishonor our Constitution. The Senate has a constitutional responsibility here that it cannot abdicate for partisan political reasons. And I get. Anyway, she's basically saying they should have put in a justice when Obama was still in. The the other thing is that I was just thinking about this. I wonder how much pull Hillary Clinton had on this election. Like it would kind of
Oh,
make sense
God.
if Joe Biden, you know what I mean? Like that kind of makes sense that maybe she had a lot of strings pulled for Joe Biden. Because that's the only I don't know who else. Who else is saying Joe Biden is a good candidate? And
Bernie
who
Sanders was
fucks.
saying that Joe Biden's a good candidate. The fucking idiot.
Oh my
Fucking
god.
cock. Man, like, Jesus
Donated
Christ.
to. There were guys that
Bernie
donated to him
Sanders.
twice. Both in
Bro,
2016 and 2020 they donated to
yeah,
him.
dude, seriously, like, look at it this way: Joe Biden's whole fucking campaign was, "I'm a nice guy and I can beat Trump." Bernie Sanders, the entire campaign, sits there saying, "Joe Biden is my friend and I think that he can beat Trump as well."
Mm.
Like, you, you fucking corporate tool. Like, you are just a tool for these fucking people. And yeah, I think that Hillary Clinton had some fucking swing, and I think that all of the DNC wanted Joe Biden in because they would much rather have Joe Biden than Andrew Yang or Bernie Sanders or Tulsi Gabbard or even, fuck, I hate her, but Elizabeth Warren.
Oh
Like,
my god.
and I would have fucking hated to have like Elizabeth Warren, but my point is, at least I felt like it would have been fair if she'd have won. I wouldn't have been that surprised if she'd won the Democratic nomination because
Mm.
she at least seemed to have some support. I don't know a fucking human being in this world that likes Joe Biden. Like, everyone I seem to talk to is like, yeah, he's terrible, but I have to vote for him. Like, cause
It's funny seeing the politics comments whenever that stuff like they defend him so hard or on YouTube and stuff. It's like, oh well, I fumble my words. Like it's normal to call out that your wife is in the audience in the middle of a sentence,
hey,
right? Like,
that's my wife, Jilly.
he could shit
I'm
himself on
Jilly's
stage,
husband.
and they'd be like, well, maybe he drank some beet juice or something. Just give the man a break. You know.
Yeah, I know. It's fucked, man. Like, it's crazy because honestly, like, this whole Ruth Bader Ginsburg thing is a really hard one because you and I have talked about this a bunch of times offline, but I would, if I was American, I could never have justified voting for Joe Biden. I just couldn't do it. I don't like him as a candidate. I don't like any of the policies he's put in place. I think he's genuinely a racist, and I can point to actual fucking proof. Unlike Slam Jello or whatever the fuck that Twitter guy's name was. Like, I can actually point to proof that Joe Biden's a fucking racist. His crime bill incarcerated thousands and thousands and thousands of fucking black people unfairly and prosecuted them more heavily for the crimes that they were committing. Like, and he's bragged about it millions of times. And when he went onto his fucking speeches to talk about it, he like fucking made this huge racist fucking tirade. But regardless of all of that, like, I did not want to vote for him. But the one thing that I have sort of thought about for a while was the whole, like, would I vote for Joe Biden for the Supreme Court justice picks that I'm sure are going to happen in this next presidency? Especially knowing that, RBG was soon to be fucking gone. Gone. See you later.
But it's a little bit interesting too. Do they normally? I guess they do wait until they're dead to give that sort of, until they die to give that sort of title up, eh? I don't know
Yeah.
too much. Okay.
Yeah, they do. So they are Supreme Court justices until they die, and then it gets obviously released. But there's a couple ways to look at this. One is that if Trump picks a Supreme Court justice before the election, well, there's a really good chance that none of the other Supreme Court justices are even going to die over the next 4 years.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now, if he doesn't get the ability to pick someone before the election, or if he chooses not to pick someone before the election, which I don't think he'll do, but let's say that he did, that would actually make it really hard for me because I'm super pro-choice. I'm like
Mhm.
pro-choice to full fucking term. Like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. 8.5 months in, feel free to cut that baby out and send it down a river. I don't give a fuck, right?
Really?
But
Even 8.5 months? I'm curious.
literally up until the point of birth, I'm okay with it. Yeah. And I look at it as you're killing a
Mm.
baby and you're killing a life. I understand all of that.
Yeah, the issue I have with it, it's hard for me to say. I don't know where the cutoff is. That's the main thing for me. Like, I don't think I
That's
agree
my
with.
same thing. That's why
It's
I'm till full term.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say that I like the idea of you being able to abort right before it comes out, but at the same time, I don't know. There's also no way to determine a cutoff date. So it's like,
No, to me, you're either pro-choice or pro-life. And if you're
yeah,
pro-life, I think that that means that you're against any abortion, which I can understand. And if you're pro-choice, I think that that means that what you are saying is that it's the woman's right to choose because it's in her body. Now, if that's the metric, that's the metric at least that I use, and while the baby is in the woman's body, that's your fucking choice. I don't give a fuck if it's a day before. I don't give a fuck if the baby is 2 weeks late and you decide to do it. It's not my. I don't know where the line is. I don't know your body. I don't know your situation. I don't know your life, and I shouldn't get to tell you.
now
With that
here's an
being
interesting.
said, with that being said, I should also be able to legally abort before the child is born and cut myself off from the fucking kid if I want to.
Right.
How I look at it. I think that we should both have the right to choose. You get to choose what you want to do with your body, and I get to choose what I want to do with my fucking wallet. And if I don't want to have to spend money on this snot-nosed little kid that I don't want, then I shouldn't have to. If it's before the baby's born. I think that we should both get to choose. And then when I make my choice to not be there, you can choose to keep it or not.
Now
You don't have to keep it.
what about the argument by, because some people that like people that are a lot of people that are adopted don't agree with abortion because in their way of thinking it's like, well, then
They
that
would be
means
dead.
more so older people I've met, right? Older people like that I've met that were adopted, abortion was much more frowned upon, and that's kind of why they were adopted. And so
Hmm.
then that's why they look down. They don't agree with abortion, right?
Right.
So
But
it's
that's
like,
and I can understand that perspective. Luckily enough, my parents wanted me, and I wasn't adopted. but
true, harsh but true.
but but like personally, I just think that I don't see any reason why we need a ton more people on this planet, and I don't think that anyone should be forced to raise a child, right?
Yeah,
And that's where and I think the thing is like after you've given birth, if you don't want the child, you can still give it up for adoption, right? That option's still there for you. I still don't think you should be forced to look after a child. But while it's in your body, I don't think we should be forcing anyone to give birth. I just think that if you force someone to give birth, I think that you're sort of forcing someone to go through torture because I can imagine that it's a fucking terrible experience giving birth, especially to a baby that you don't want, right?
yeah.
But once again, with that's why I'm pro-choice to full term. I should also have the privilege of being able to remove myself from this baby's life, but prior to it being born as well. Because once that kid comes out, I'm fucked. If I get you pregnant and you have the baby, even though I didn't want it, even though I told you to get an abortion a million times, I'm now required to pay for this baby's life.
I mean, if we could get a baby made together, like we'd probably have make a lot of money. That'd be
I identify as a woman, so now I can have babies, so it doesn't matter.
nice. Okay, perfect. Did you see that? Did you see that? By the way, someone had a uterus transplant, I think, and they had a
Like a
baby.
male?
Yeah,
Like a male had a uterus transplant, and
yeah.
then look at that.
First,
J.K. Rowling was wrong.
you,
Trans women are women.
second baby born in U.S. from transplanted uterus of dead donor.
To a woman, you
Maybe,
know, or a
no,
male?
no, maybe I got trolled. I'm almost positive I got trolled. Never mind. I don't want to talk about it. I got trolled by a post that I guarantee. Never mind.
Fake news.
It was a picture of two men holding a baby, and because I just read it, and it said that it was from this woman herself didn't have a good uterus, so she got one from a dead. She got it basically from someone that just died and had a good uterus.
Hmm.
And the picture was two men holding a baby, and it was first man with a uterus transplant has an anal baby. And I must have just not been thinking that day, and like I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to talk about it. I got trolled.
That's so
I
funny.
just realized.
Um, but like, yeah. So I'm that. My point is simply that I'm very, 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 very pro-choice. For everyone involved, I think that everyone should have the right to choose, and it's probably one of the biggest things that would make me a liberal, or at
Mhm.
least would make me a general Democratic voter in the U.S. But there is an argument where is that even like how important is abortion in comparison to say the police?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if I have to decide between abortions or the police, fuck, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know at that point. I've never had to feel like I'm in that position before.
Well, if you look at the CDC says that in 2016 there was 11.6 abortions per 1,000 women,
Hmm.
right? Or
So
sorry,
basically, that means that
186 abortions per 1,000 live births is the. That's a weird. So is that?
186 abortions for every live birth.
So they said the abortion rate for 2016 was 11.6 abortions per 1,000 women, and the abortion ratio was 186 abortions per 1,000 live births. So I guess for every
Does that
1,000
mean that
babies.
the 11 women that are getting the abortions out of every thousand are just having a fucking ton of them?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that stat. Like I don't get it.
Is that what that sounds like? That's what it means, right? Like 11 out of a thousand women get an abortion, and 186 abortions happen for every thousand births. So if a thousand women have one child, and only 11 of those women have abortions, and they're making up 186 of them. Now, I know that that math isn't exactly right. I think that there are women that will have multiple children, and there are women who will have multiple abortions. But that seems like a very interesting
Yeah, that doesn't make
juxtaposition, I
sense.
guess.
That doesn't make sense to me. 11 abortions per 1,000. So 1,000 women will abort 11.6 babies.
No,
Oh wait, this is.
no, 11.6 out of every thousand women will have abortions, is what I think that they're saying. So 1.16% of the female population abort children. Now, but what they're then saying is that for every thousand births, 186 people, 186 abortions happen. That to me sounds like that 1% of aborters are really, really aborting some kids. Now, I'm sure that if you are someone who's had an abortion, you're probably more likely to have multiple than someone who's had
Mhm.
none. You know what I mean? Like you're probably much more likely to have another one if you've already had one, because I would imagine that part of the real horror of having an abortion is going there and getting it done the first time.
And a lot of them are also. It says here the majority of
Sort of like losing your
abortions.
virginity again.
The majority of abortions were also women in their 20s, too, because this accounts for women 15 to 44 years old. Sorry,
Hmm.
what'd you say before that?
I said it's sort of like losing your virginity again.
Uh, is that how it works? I can go. Okay, that's why girls
Well,
say
when you
that
go
to
for the
me.
first time, right? Like you pop your abortion cherry, and then then you just turn into a huge abortion slut, and you're fucking having abortions left, right, and center.
It is, you know,
That's what that stat seems to say to me, and I'm not like, and once again, I'm pro-choice. Have 186 abortions. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't care. But it's
anecdotally, I know women that had abortions. They did usually have multiple. So,
I
yeah.
I agree. That's anecdotally that is also the experience that I've had, which is that most of the women that I've talked to that have had abortions, it's very specifically abortions. They you always have the S on there.
Mm. Yeah, that's a. Anyways, it's. Yeah. Oh, well, where I was gonna go with this was 11.6. How many babies are aborted per year, though? 600. There were 623,000 legal induced abortions. I mean, does that compare to police killings? No. Police killings in
Oh no, there were
2016.
like 13 unarmed black people killed last year. Like it's not even fucking close. There are way more fucking abortions than people killed by the police. Way more.
962 people were shot and killed by police in 2016. So, how do we compare this? I'm just trying to
What's
figure.
going on? What, did 5 people just get shot by the fucking police when you brought up that
Did
site?
you saw that? Can I read that up
Yeah.
again? I know it's like
Look, they
no,
kill.
that's not it.
Bang, dead, 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 dead. Look, and that's not a great number. 3 people getting killed by the cops every day is not fucking good.
Yeah, it does go up. It goes up 5 every time I go. It's like people just like I don't know. That's a weird one, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Back to your question: abortions. Should I care more about abortions or police? I think that's a tough one because yeah, like you said, if people are forced to have kids, you have cause a lot of problems, and also if you defund the police, you cause a lot of problems. So it's like
Well, look, I don't have. Once again, I think that I'm pro-choice, but I'm also not out there fucking screaming Black Lives Matter, right? What I'm wondering is like, how can you be a person who is out pushing like Black Lives Matter, blah blah blah, but you're totally okay? Like, how many abortions happen every year in America?
yeah, there's 632 in 2016. 632,000
632,000.
legal
So
abortions. Yeah.
right. So now, once again, I am totally okay with all 632,000 of those babies dying. Totally okay with it. Don't give a fuck. More than fine.
That's a lot
But
when you think about it.
that is,
That's
and
a
I
lot.
couldn't care, and I couldn't give less of a fuck. Okay, like
Holy
it
shit.
doesn't matter to me how many fucking babies die from abortions. I don't care, right? And I do actually probably care more about the citizens of a country getting killed by their police than all the abortions, even if it is only 900 people getting killed by the police. But my point is simply that how can you like the reason why I'm pro-choice is because I don't think that life really matters that much.
Hmm.
I think that all people's lives in terms of current citizens, like people who live on this fucking world and aren't inside someone else, I think that they should all be treated equally. But how can you be out there screaming like these 900 people that got killed is such a fucking terrible problem, yet these 630,000 people that got killed is not an issue?
Yeah. Exactly. Funny enough, that's what Kanye's been saying recently.
Has he?
Yeah, he's
I
been
think
going
that
hard
Kanye and
on
I
that.
would get along quite well.
He said stuff so now. Well, no, because he says abortion should be illegal. That his point is abortion should be illegal because look at all the black lives that they're killing. Right? That's what he's focused on.
But
But
that's a
it
good
is a good
point.
point. It is a
That's a
good
good
point.
point.
Yeah.
What about the black babies that are being killed? And I'm
Yeah,
sure that
exactly.
out of that 630,000, I'd say at least half of those are going to be black kids.
Yeah.
Like seriously, and that's not to be racist or anything. That's just if you look at the stats of the types of people that are generally going to have abortions, it's generally people with lower incomes
Mhm.
who don't have a stable household, don't have a stable family situation, and unfortunately, that is more prevalent in the black community.
Yeah. It's. Yeah. No, it's completely valid. And then you just go down the route of well, are we also? There's a lot of black lives being killed in Africa and start 133,000. I'm gonna repeat this all the time, but 133,000 Somalian children under the age of 5 starved to death. I think it was in 2018 or 2019. 133,000 starved to death,
No
and
one gives a
you're
fuck
and
because
you're
they're not black
worried.
Americans.
No one gives a
Like,
fuck. That's so funny. You just bring the mic up. No one gives a fuck about any starving Somalians.
like
It's
no one fucking cares, man. Like no one cares. No one cares about the Somalians. No one gives a
no.
fuck about the Uyghur Muslims. No one gives a fuck about like
The million
literally.
Muslims in China that are detained right now in concentration
Dude,
camps. No.
Americans are so fucking egotistical that they do not give a fuck about anyone else's country.
No.
Like they when they go to other countries, they think that other people are the foreigners.
Yeah.
Like they'll be in fucking like Italy and shit, like talking to people as if like they are foreign to the Americans.
Yeah. It's
It,
crazy, man. There's a whole thing back. Same thing. It doesn't make sense. That's what our podcast should be called. It doesn't make sense.
yeah, it doesn't make
There's
sense.
another. I
Yeah,
like figuring it out with the boys though too. That's good.
the I think the thing is, it's like with with the whole like people in Somalia dying, with any of this shit. Even or even here's a good one that I don't understand why these BLM idiots are so fucking uh, don't seem to want to talk about this. But all of the black people that get killed by other black people in their own communities. There's been
Yeah.
way more black people killed by other black people since the riots.
Hmm.
Like over and above what would usually happen than are killed by police each year. The crime rates in all of these cities have gone up through the fucking roof. The
Yeah.
people just killed from the protesters and the riots alone is
Causing
over
more
30
friction
people
with the
already.
cops too. More
Yeah,
friction with
once
them.
again, it causes more friction with the cops. It takes the cops out of these places and makes it so that the people who are just committing a ton of crime have more power. Drug dealers, pimps, like people that you do not like. If we're for minorities and if we're for women and if we're for all these are like the worst people in the fucking world to all of those people. And the
Yeah.
police are helping those people from these fucking monsters. But you're but let's just defund them.
Yeah.
Like,
Bless. If I was an officer, I would be infuriated, and it would be crazy. I have mad respect for anyone that's not leaving the police force right now. Imagine
fucking
how
it.
hard that
Because
is.
I was saying that from like a week in. Once the protest, like when the protest started, like a week in, I was like, fuck this, man. If I'm
Yeah.
a police officer, I'm just fucking quitting. Fuck you. Like, fuck you, man. Like, how dare you? Like, and then you see that fucking. We should probably talk about like some of the police stuff maybe another day because there's a lot to go into there. But like,
Yeah.
because we could probably talk about like the Jacob Blake thing and like those two cops in Tulsa the other day. But holy fuck. Like, why would you put your life on the line if you're a cop right now? Why
Yeah.
would you bother doing it? Like,
It's crazy. It doesn't
for
make
what?
sense.
It's a shitty paying job. These people get paid like fucking half of what I do. Like, it's a fucking joke. These people are getting like less than 50 grand a year. It's a fucking piss take, man. And then, and then they fucking have to be fucking like, and they have to just deal with some of the worst fucking people. Not only just like real criminals, but also people just talking to them like they're bags of shit.
Yeah.
People calling them pigs and fucking making oink oink noises at them and all sorts of crap. Like,
While they're
God,
taking stress,
fuck
it
me.
is. I bet no one understands how much stress that is to be a cop, especially now. Your stress levels are through the roof. Thinking, because you probably think every time you go out, you probably think, "Is does this person hate me? Does this
Yeah,
person want to cause trouble? Do they want to start a
yeah,
video?" Like cops now have to have so much, and you know what? That's fine, but let's pay
yeah,
cops then a lot more money because I don't want
yeah.
underpaid cops going through that. They're gonna make more
No fucking
mistakes.
way.
They're gonna fuck
They're
up
gonna be
more.
worse. They're gonna be
Yeah,
more angry. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Pay them way more. Pay them 100 grand a year, and then if they fuck up, even once, get them the fuck out. I don't give a fuck. Like you treat them as harsh as humanly possible. Pay them well for it, so that we get the right people doing this fucking job. Because you're not defunding them is not going to make them better.
yeah. It's
Like,
not.
and you're not going to get anyone doing that job that you want doing that job for free. You know, like there's no
Maybe
like the
Chaz
free
worked out.
police officer is like the worst one that you fucking could ever have because they're just doing it for power, right? Like,
Um, what was it? Well, Chaz worked out. They had what was his name? What was his name? Chop or Chaz? You remember that guy came in with
yeah,
machine guns and stuff? He was the
Raz,
leader, Raz or
Raz,
whatever. Yeah,
fucking whatever his name
yeah.
is.
He'll do it
Yeah,
for free. He'll keep you protected for
yeah,
free.
exactly.
Like,
And they were like threatening people and beating people up and shit immediately. People died in Chaz. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I just don't understand where the like. Once again, if you don't have police, people like Raz will end up running the fucking country.
yeah,
And I would much rather have the police than Raz.
yeah.